I'm Judy Zelina. This is the Milker Government Channel. Better Business Bureau strives to help consumers make good buying decisions by providing educational tips and information for the community about various industries, local and national businesses and websites, and national charities. Joining us today to discuss some of the Better Business Bureau's smart shopping tips and current hot topics is Pamela Marlow. She is the Public Relations Coordinator for the Better Business Bureau of Western Pennsylvania, the Erie office. Pam, it is always a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
You always have something new to talk about, but right now, I want to mention, hasn't 2020 been a wild ride?
Just a little bit, yes. It's been all over the place, and so look forward to chatting with you about what's been going on.
Right, because how has it affected your services?
Sure, yes. Well, it's affected everyone, this
Yes,
coronavirus and COVID pandemic. It has affected everybody differently. And what we're seeing at the Better Business Bureau is, well, the start of the pandemic, you have a lot of cancellations and trips being delayed or canceled and services being stopped for a time. So at the start, it was kind of overwhelming as a consumer because you're trying to go through cancellation policies and see what your rights are as a consumer, if you can cancel and get your money back, if you can delay certain services that were scheduled or certain trips and plans that you had scheduled. So at first it was really overwhelming for a consumer to try to understand what their rights are and how to proceed during this time. And we're finding out as this pandemic continues that consumers really want to know who and they're making sure they're dealing with legitimate companies and finding companies and services that they can trust. Because at first, you're canceling and consumers ran into a lot of problems with trying to get money back in some cases and refunds. And now as we go along, we're seeing people doing their research, taking their time and finding trusted companies, legitimate charities, honest websites, and so on. And so we've been, at the Better Business Bureau, have increased our services in that we're providing more information and people are asking more better questions about who they want to hire to do certain projects and services.
I know you've always said research was the most important thing before you hire somebody or put your money out. Always do research. But you know what though, Pam? How do you research a company?
That's a great question, and one we get pretty frequently. People do want to know who they're working with, and they ask us all the time, well, how do I know who to trust and who I'm dealing with? So we offer what's called a BBB business profile, and it's information on local companies around here, and national companies and websites, and also national charities. And so we try to list information. These profiles are free and available to anyone to view online or over the phone. They can get the information over the phone, but it lists certain information about a business, such as registration or licensing requirements for that business in order for them to operate appropriately. So we list that information on there so a consumer can do their due diligence and check on things. Also, there's real customer reviews in that we attempt to verify that a customer is a real customer before they leave reviews, since there is a lot of review scams and review fraud on
How do you do that then? How do you do that? How do you know that it is a legit reviewer?
Well, we attempt to follow up with the customer who did leave a review to make sure that they are legitimate. And there are a couple other, we put it through a program in helping to identify a legit review from
a verified customer.
Yes, yeah.
Much.
So we do attempt to reach out to the customer in some cases too, to make sure they're, not from a competing business, or they're not they just don't like the business, so they're writing a review. You do have to be an actual customer in order to write a review. So there are steps we can take to try to legitimize that. So we do have customer reviews, a 3-year complaint history, so you can see if a business has had complaints in the past 3 years and how the business responded to those complaints, which is really important to see a communication between a customer and a business. And so we feel that information, along with some other basic information about a company, will help you make a good decision when looking for trusted local services and those trusted national services and companies as well. So do a little bit of research. You can call us. You can look into the type of business you're working with, whether it's a website or if it's a roofing contractor. And we can provide information about the requirements for that business. Are they required to be registered with the state of Pennsylvania? Or do they have to have a license in some area in order to operate? So we want to help you as consumers make good decisions, and we feel that information will help in that process.
Now we're seeing a lot of online shopping, and I
Yes.
think a lot of that can be because of the pandemic, but people were doing a lot more online shopping. But now you have to be careful with that also, right?
Absolutely, yes, that's a good point. As the COVID pandemic progressed through the months, we're seeing that we're able to order services and products online, and as we're quarantined, we're not able to get out and support our local businesses as much at the start of the pandemic, and people really turned to online e-commerce in order to do a lot of their shopping, if not all of their grocery shopping,
Right.
clothing. We had a lot of purchases of pets online. So people are looking for dogs and cats during the pandemic to keep them company. And so we saw a lot of online purchase scams. Those con artists know we're all behind our computers. We're kind of stuck inside during that quarantine. So they created this influx of fake websites selling masks. We saw masks, hand sanitizer. There were a lot of job scams listed online, and pets were also some of the biggest websites that we found were actually online purchase scams, or sometimes call them fake websites, because it's just a con artist put together a website, might have copy and pasted some pictures from a legitimate website,
Okay.
or stolen some photos from social media or something like that, and created a website saying, you know, these dogs are for sale, or you know, these jobs are available. Also, clothing and food too were used in online purchase scams. But those con artists will create what looks like a great website. They'll typically sell those items for a reduced price to try to get your attention. So for instance, a purebred dog could go for hundreds, even thousands of dollars in some cases. And so these con artists would create a fake pet website that offered these really in-demand breeds for a lot less than their going rate, which would get a lot of people's attention. And then those consumers would inquire about the dogs and end up sending money for a puppy, to have a puppy delivered to their house or a kitty delivered to their house. And there was no puppy to begin with. It was just pictures stolen from other around online, the online world. And you know, it's pretty quick and easy to create a website, and some con artists can make them look real, just like they're real, make them look very legitimate, in that people fall for it. And so we're seeing a lot of that happening, whether it is puppies or pet supplies. We saw a lot of the pet supplies that were promoted on fake websites and then promoted on social media. So they would you know, send you, you would look on your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed and see these really great items that look great and they're really perfect for you. They know how to target you from your internet history and what you like and don't like on Facebook. And so those con artists can directly target you while you're at home, and you fall for it, and you just click through and fall for it.
So Pam, how do I know if it's not a company that I've dealt with? Because I do online shopping, but it's with same companies, you know, with the same products. How do I know if it's going to be a legit business? If I'm not sure, would I be able to contact you and you can tell me if they've got complaints or something like that?
Sure, yeah, do your research, Judy,
Just
before
research.
you do that. But yeah, the websites are getting a little bit more complicated and harder to identify the real ones from the fake ones, especially when they are targeting you on social media. We see people all the time. The scam report starts with I saw this ad on Facebook or I saw this ad on Instagram and it just appealed to them, it spoke to them, so they fell for it. But we advise consumers to look, if you've never done business with that website or company before,
Right.
do a little research. Of course, you can always call us or search the website on bbb.org to see if we have a profile on it.
Okay.
But look for contact information and make sure you can contact that company in case there is a problem. We're seeing some of those shipping delays and other issues associated with how the increased traffic or increased demand for
Okay.
online, the e-commerce. And so we are seeing some more problems associated with legitimate websites, but the real ones for the ones you've never shopped on before, look for the contact information. Make sure there's a legitimate physical address. Make sure there's a phone number that you can pick up the phone and directly contact that business. Or some of these fake websites just list an email, or they list a fake address because they know consumer protection groups like us are advising consumers to look for physical contact, the physical address. Make sure this company is real and you know where it's located, hopefully in the United States, so you get your product or it's made in the United States, hopefully. But yeah, con artists are also catching on to what the advice we're giving to folks to make sure there's legitimate.
So they're trying to cover all of their bases right now.
Yes, yeah. So look up that address and make sure you can contact the company if you've never shopped from them
Okay.
before to help prevent some of these scams.
Okay.
And shopping online too, some of the money you're losing, it's the amount of money that's lost in scams has dropped during COVID because you make an online purchase of like $20 or $40, you see something that's fairly cheap,
Right.
and so you go for it. And so we are seeing the money amount in scams, the lost in scams that's decreasing, but it's still $40 that you
That's right.
could have spent somewhere else,
Somewhere else.
local, somewhere more trusted.
Talking about the online shopping scams, this is something new that I had never heard of before. It is a delivery scheme called brushing, and it's even been reported here in Mill Creek. What is brushing?
Sure, this is a good one too. Brushing, it's kind of a weird name for this scheme.
Okay.
But it's an online seller sends you packages that arrive on your doorstep. And you never ordered these items, obviously, but they arrive on your doorstep and you open up the box and you see it's something random.
Okay.
During COVID, we had people receiving masks just they don't know where they came from, and also seeds, different kind of seeds. There was
Okay, right.
earlier in the summer there was
that.
people receiving seeds they didn't know where they came from. But this means someone has your information, at least your address, and they're sending you random items, which, by the way, you're allowed to keep, according to the Federal Trade Commission, says any unordered merchandise that arrives on your doorstep, you're entitled to keep. Whether you want to keep those seeds or masks or random merchandise is up to you. But this means that someone does or knows your information and they used it. Typically, what happens here is a fake online seller buys their own product that they list online. And so for that, they're kind of pumping up their sales by buying their own products. And then they're sending them to a legitimate person, which then they can go and use your information to write a review of their product on the e-commerce site on which they're selling.
Okay,
And so it not
all
only
right.
boosts their sales, but getting reviews from verified customer helps promote their product even more. So it's kind of a scheme that they're using in order to get their product higher in search results and to put it in front of your face a little bit more, so you hopefully end up buying it. But then they send you items like seeds or masks because it's very light to ship, so they're saving money on the shipping costs.
Okay.
And as long as they deliver something to you, then you're a verified customer. Doesn't matter if it's a 100-pound box or a very light package that costs them very little to send to you. So they're trying to boost their sales by using your information in this scheme. So it might be innocuous to you because they might only have your name and address, which
Okay, because that's kind of freaking me out right now that they
Yes.
have that information.
Yeah, and we've had people in this area here receive like pet supplies. They've received the masks, they've received the seeds, and then what are they to do? Someone is using their information. So what we advise them is first try to contact the retailer that is listed on the package to see if they are legitimate and see if they know anything about where this package came from, just to report that you received unordered merchandise with their name on it. And then you should check your information on those e-commerce sites. So go into your account information, check your recently bought purchases, and maybe even update your password, your email and password for that site to make sure no one hacked your account and is using your information. So keep your passwords long and strong, change those frequently on those e-commerce sites. And you can also check your credit report to make sure your identity is intact. Now, the con artist might not have all this information about you, but you still need to do your due diligence and check to make sure they're not victimizing you in ways that are sight unseen right now.
Boy, they really, really know how to get in everywhere and get this information, don't they?
Yeah, and some of it, I mean, is found in a basic online search or through social media scams and frauds and things like that.
I mean, if you just search an address, names will appear, or name addresses will appear.
Sure, yes.
So.
Yeah, and to take that a step further too, you should check your credit report to make sure that they're not using your social security number or have your information that will really destroy your credit or worse. So credit reports are free right now through April 2021, thanks to the COVID pandemic. So you can actually check your credit report once per week for free. It used to be once per year, which is a great identity theft prevention tip and just a great way to check to make sure your finances and your identity is in check.
Okay. Pam, moving into the new year now, what do you think the next wave of scams that you think you'll be seeing coming down the road?
Sure. Well, it depends how long this pandemic does occur.
Oh, let's hope it's done tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah, let's hope it's done tomorrow. But if it's not, we're still going to see people take advantage of the convenience of a lot of this online shopping.
Right.
They see how easy it is to have groceries delivered now, and it's likely to continue with the online purchase schemes. Is because some people think that, well, if it's a bad website or a fake website, I'm not losing that much money. But that's what's fueling these con artists to continue to promote fake websites, is people that don't necessarily care. They're losing $20 or they bought something that was made in China and it looked nothing like they thought they were going to receive when they ordered it. But we don't see that these fake websites or online purchase scams will disappear anytime soon, especially because it's getting harder to recognize the trusted websites and companies from the fake ones. But at the end of the year, too, we see a jump in charity scams. So charities, they took a hit this year, too. They're still struggling to recover from some of this time off and some of their usual campaigns that they would have. So we're going to see more of those charity scams pop up too at the end of the year, in which con artists will pretend to represent an organization and solicit donations, which is easy money, quick and easy money for some con artists. And they're using that, they usually use a sob story of some sort associated with the charity, in which the charity does really help, the legitimate charity does really help certain people and animals as well. But yeah, those con artists will create a fake sob story and really pull at your emotions. They'll pull at your heartstrings and try to get you to give money or information to them to use without really knowing what they're doing.
Right, and I think especially during the holidays is a great time for them to come out, because everybody is in such a giving spirit at that time. And there's so much kindness, and charities would just thrive in that. A fake charity would just thrive on somebody, like I said, right around the holidays.
Sure, yeah, and so anyone who's wanting to give money, make sure you contact that charity directly, or or have given to that exact charity in the past, and do similar research that you would with a website. Make sure their address and phone number is legitimate and working, and do your due diligence to make sure your money is making a difference.
And I know one thing that I always do, Pam, if I ever get anything from an email from my bank or credit card, I never reply. Even if it's legit, I never reply or do any answers. I'll get on the phone and call them.
Good
to
tip.
find out if they called. Because, I mean, I just have heard of too many people that feel it's a legit email, and it's not. And they've
Good
given away
tip.
some personal information. So I always physically call.
Good, yes.
You know, so that's something that I practice.
Yeah, and that can be applied to just about anything too. If you receive any type of phone calls, any type of mailing, any type of email that you want to just check out, you don't know if it's a scam or not, always contact a legitimate company.
Right.
Phone is a great way to do that by looking up on the back of your credit card or on an account statement, and call that legitimate number.
Yes.
For the utility
not
company.
the number in
bank,
the email. So yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So look up the legitimate number, contact them just to verify. Hey, did you send this, or is this information I need, or I'd like to take advantage of an offer I heard.
Right.
That kind of thing.
So.
So good tip.
Our time here is getting to the end. My goodness, you and I could sit here and talk for another hour. It is amazing to me how these con artists can think. My head doesn't even wrap around some of these things that they come up with.
Sure. Yeah, and it's something new every day. I mean, this whole year really has been something new every day, and we just want to help protect Erie residents and the Erie community, Mill Creek community. We want to help educate them to make good buying decisions, and so they're not getting ripped off, and they don't have to come to us later to say, how do I get my money back, or how do I proceed if someone steals my identity, that sort of thing. So we try to provide useful information. Sometimes it's scary, but it's good to know, so you know how con artists and fraudsters may contact you or may request information from you.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show and giving us these tips. As usual, you've been so helpful. And viewers, I think the bottom line, what Pam wants everyone to do is research. If you're buying anything online, or if you're getting an offer in the mail, do some research. Check out their website. It's a very user-friendly website, or even give them a call just to protect yourself. So viewers, thank you so much for tuning into the Mill Creek Government Channel, and until next time, have a wonderful day.